G'day, we're in the Gippsland end of the high country, home to some of the most scenic four-wheel driving anywhere in the world. And instead of bringing along new trucks to accompany Milo, we've got a couple of older ones, just to see how far they can go. Come and meet the guys. Righto, mate. Now you're going to have to tell us your name for the sake of the camera.
Roothy, Dennis Dwyer's my name, Roothy, and I'm actually pleased to be right out here in the high country.
Well, that's amazing. You know, I've run into you up here before, Dennis, I know a couple of times, and you've had the same truck too. It was a Land Rover last time, still going.
It is the same truck, you're quite right. There are a couple of modifications since that time, but it is the same truck, and we're out here to test it out again for the next few days.
So it's a 99 model, is it?
99 Roothy, yeah. It's first of the TD5s with the 5-cylinder motor in it, and it really has performed well. Very pleased with it.
Ah, you'll be right, Dennis. You're travelling with Toyotas, mate. We can haul you through somewhere down the line.
Well, I was hoping to have the chance to be able to do that, Roothy, with yourselves. That's why we bought the Land Rover, I thought, was to be the recovery vehicle.
Oh, well, we'll get some of it through here. Good on you, Dennis.
Thanks very much, Roothy.
And it looks like he had so much fun last time, he's along for the ride again. How you going, Alan?
Wouldn't miss this for quids, Roothy. This is a great opportunity to get out and play again.
And you left the 79 at home and you've bought the 60, the real truck.
The real tough truck, yes. Solid steel, no panels, thin panels in this thing.
You got a long history with 60s, haven't you?
Love 60s. My first 60 was an 85 model, but the year before this, a 2H.
Yep.
Brought the kids home from hospital. 16 years we owned it for. Yep. And now we sold it, we regretted it, we bought this thing. This is fantastic.
Yep.
This has got the better motor. This has got the 12HT factory turbo diesel.
So this truck's got lockers, hasn't it?
Front and rear lockers, original Roberts diff locks. The original
Wow.
Tony Roberts one made with a solid billet of steel, yes.
Truth. And you're not running a winch?
No, we're pretty cocky, we're pretty confident. We reckon if we need help, Milo will be there if we need it.
Yeah, well, I reckon you've got the equipment, Alan, so let's go and see how it goes.
Can't wait. Fantastic.
And up the back here, doing the real work, it looks like Paul Harrison from Harrison's Four-Wheel Drive in Bendigo. How are you, mate?
Good, thanks, Ruth. How you going?
Hey, look, I don't understand this. You're a very experienced four-wheel driver. You know all about machinery. You got a fantastic GQ yourself, and you're riding with Alan Johnson. What's wrong with you, mate?
Alan ran out of people to ask, Ruthie, so I thought I'd help him out.
You drew the short straw, didn't you?
Certainly did. I'd be right. We've been with him before and he's fine.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll keep the straight jacket handy just in case. Good on you, Paul.
Thanks, Ruthie.
Our trip kicked off from the Wombat Valley Wild Country Cabins in Bryagalong North. These cabins can sleep anywhere from 2 to 10 people, and they offer a taste of the rustic lifestyle of the early gold miners, with a whole lot of modern conveniences, of course. It's a great place for a four-wheel drive club to settle in before a big journey. It's just a fantastic place. To climb like that, there's nothing better than a bit of a cool-off. So Al led us down the Freestone Creek Road to Blue Pool. Located in Quarry Reserve, which is 10 kilometres north of Bryagalong, this crystal clear pool set in natural bushland is part of Gippsland's forgotten goldfields, and it's a wonderful deep swimming hole in the warmer months. I reckon we could do a bit of skinny dipping here, Al, except I ain't skinny. Yeah, I reckon it's big enough for all of us. It's unreal, isn't it?
It is absolutely lovely. We've got tracks to conquer.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Right.
We are now entering officially what I call roller coaster country. This is really up and downy and it's absolutely spectacular. Great fun to drive.
We travel more along the Freestone Creek Road. It's as dry as a bone at this time of year, especially after the big drought, but in the wet season there are no fewer than 45 river crossings on this track. It's not long before we hit Toggle Hill Track, one of the steepest hill climbs in the Gippsland region. Definitely time to wear down here.
We are adjusting tyre pressures between the beadlock and the tyre. Basically, we're going to run the beadlock at about 40 psi and the tyre down to about 22, 23. Lower tyre pressure means a bit more traction, a bit less bounce, and hopefully more controllability. We shall see. We shall see.
Well, Al's dropping them to about 23 with the beadlocks. I'm going down to about 16. I don't have beadlocks at the moment, not in Milo, but 16 psi will give me all the advantages. 4 minutes to blast. Al goes first, just to show us how it's done. Good on you, mate. Gee, that 60's a weapon, it really is.
This is a challenge. Still not to the steep bit. The steep bit's coming up. you'll enjoy this. What do you reckon?
Mate, the steeper it gets, the more I love it. Coming through! And in this high country, you get some really steep tracks. Normally, the trick is to look out for the soft stuff, you know, look out for stuff that can slip under your tyres when you're on a track like this. It's a little bit hard when it's all like that. So the best thing you can do is, in my case, set your throttle, give it the berries in second low and hang on. Looks like Dennis is doing something like that. The old Land Rover's proving itself really capable in these conditions. I wouldn't want Dennis to hear me saying this, but the Defender's quite a weapon in its own right, it really is. Built like a truck underneath. Pity the top bit's built by somebody else.
We made it! Woohoo!
A bit bloody slippery and jumpy. And it's a momentum thing, like you said. Come on, Jack.
Fantastic. Easy.
Amazingly capable little beast.
Absolutely.
Well, you guys are having yourselves on, aren't you? Come on. No one's game to riding Milo. Just prove itself too good, really, wouldn't it? This part of the high country is littered with bog holes, like this one on the Lee Creek track, which transitions into a creek bed. This is where you ask yourself, do you go through it or do you find an alternative route? What do you reckon, Jack? Keep it up? You can say bye-bye Uncle Al if he's not careful. You're on the log. Just come this, that's it. Now straighten up. This is one of those rare, treacherous things you see four-wheel driving. And what's going on here is you're restricted. You're in the creek bed, you're restricted to where you can go. And because of the angle of the bottom underneath this hole, it's a reasonably steep angle for a truck to be tipping on as it goes in. But our problem here, and this is exactly what happened in Coffs Harbour, is that of course the water's deeper on the middle there. It's always been deeper there. So the bottom over in the middle is going to be a lot softer than the edges. The truck's tyres start turning, and this is exactly what we just saw with Al. And of course, it goes this way. It tips over even further until you get to a situation where the truck is ready to fall over. Way out of it? Stay out of it. That's a good way out of it. If it's warm enough, walk it, do all that kind of stuff. In an extreme situation, you could sit here with the kids for half a day and throw a whole heap of rocks in that left-hand side and some of these dead branches, build it up a little bit, drive through and keep on going. But just be aware of it, because as I say, in all the four-wheel driving I've seen, I've only ever seen this situation 3 times. Deadly, eh? Could be. Hey Al, you want to bring the pond back? I think half of it's in your car. Oh, Jack says, I don't think I'll go there. Oh, there it is. Plenty of water. Well done, mate. I think you got half the pond in your car. At least it'll be the cleanest 60 around.
Right, we're now in the creek bed. We're committed, there's no way out, as you can see. The walls are immeasurably deep. Maybe we're in trouble.
Well, meanwhile, Dennis and I have decided to go around the long way and see if we can meet up with Al further down the track. It doesn't take us long before we find him, because he goes as far as he can, and that's it.
I'm just looking, if this is what I think it is, we've got no way out of here. We'll have to do a scout. This is getting serious. We'll be back. We'll report back. We're not going to get down there either. Hi, Roothy!
Hey Al, what you doing down there, mate? Bit on the lost side.
Unless Paul's found a path over there that looks easier, we're out of luck.
See, I reckon, like if he chews at this with his lockers, he should get up here.
Well, all he's going to do is put his right-hand front wheel up here.
Yeah.
And just come straight up.
Yeah. Well, it's a good plan.
Right, well what we've done is we've cut through the log mostly, so now it's actually movable. Not by me, of course, but it's movable with a few people. So with the top part moved out of the way, we've only got that impossible bank to get out of, and we should be right. Sounds like fun.
Guys, we're going to do some winching.
Okay, all clear.
All clear.
Just another day at the office.
That was a pain, it's supposed to roll.
Is he hooked up? He's hooked. Take it up.
Right, clear out everybody.
Clearance?
Okay, good, good. Keep it going.
Keep it going.
Keep it going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Oh, yeah, keep going.
Keep going.
That'll do it.
You.
Power back out.
This is the sort of situation where you're really hanging out for lockers. You need all the wheels turning and driving.
That wasn't good.
Come on, mate. Give it the berries. It'll shoot up there. Probably keep going though, that's not so good. Now you can see Al's truck is twisting here. It can't quite make it, and it's easier for the momentum of the truck to fall over sideways. That's a real pain. We're trying to avoid that. The only thing that'll do it is if he can chew away at that bank a little bit with the front lockers and then make himself a track and come on up and over. And there he goes. That's all it took. A little bit of 60 series style earth moving. I think he could be stuck there, mate. And he's shifted over so far that we're actually in a bit of a dangerous situation. I'll tell you what, Al, you could do this, but you're going to have to put right hand down here and kick the front end over there.
Nerf bars work well.
Yeah, you're not in a real good position.
No, I'm not actually.
But if you do want to drive it, right hand down and
Hang on, I think, Roothy, I should have one last
go. I think so
and then I
too.
think if that's it, we'll winch it. I'm not any damage at the start.
No damage. That's a 60. You can't hurt it doing this kind of stuff.
This is Toyota tough, guys. You've got to acknowledge
Toyota tough.
Toyota tough. Not about the driver, it's Toyota tough.
Oh, the driving. I think
feels
Al's a little
great.
bit nervous about denting the 60. It's taken him so long to find such a good one. I don't know. I shouldn't give driving tips to anyone, should I really? I mean, look at my vehicle. Not one panel on it that's not scratched.
Okay, is everyone right?
Come on, mate. More mumbo. And that's it. Yes. Beautiful. It's always hard to give a truck plenty of mumbo when there's nowhere to go.
Go to 60!
Unreal. Oh, beautiful. No damage. No damage.
No damage.
Good stuff. Look at that. Woohoo. Al's pretty impressed with that. So were we, to be honest. It was a tight and tricky situation. There was nowhere to go in a situation where you needed momentum to bounce out. Never an easy choice. We got down to the Moroka River tonight, and it's some of the best camping I've ever seen around here. It's fantastic. The river's beautiful, and the grounds around it are just awesome. This is the Moroka hut in the background. It was built in 1946, you know, so the cattlemen had somewhere to shelter when it snowed. And it's just beautiful. It's still here, of course, still available for you to come camping.
Moroka.
Moroka Hilton.
Cattleman's hut.
Wow.
5-star accommodation.
Oh, this is something else.
Can you just point us over to the ensuite?
You know what? I'd recommend it to you young guys out there looking for somewhere to take your missus on honeymoon. You can spend the whole night swatting the mozzies off her butt. Magic.
But your last time was
Oh, it's
absolutely
great.
brilliant.
Yeah. It's unreal.
Watch your heads.
Yes.
Just bashed that before.
This is made perfectly.
Oh,
See? Those 6 foot people, they have a problem.
Well, we've rolled into camp here. Absolutely magnificent setting. It deserves a magnificent meal. Unfortunately, it's my turn to cook. So I'll cook up a nutty cow. And that's what this is. You watch. Pan goes on. I've got sesame oil here just on this particular trip. I like sesame oil, but you know, olive oil, whatever oil you've got. A bit of garlic. There we go. Now you see, by now you've got everyone fooled, because as soon as they smell a bit of garlic cooking, they start going, whoa, that smells good. Works a treat. You can go some onions. I've already diced up a couple of onions. Got most of them in the pot. That's a big improvement. Okay, once you've got your onion looking nice and cooked, time to add some meat. This is that lovely porterhouse that I've chopped up. Jack got some of it. Yeah, you know how it is. And tonight, because there's a fire going, he's into rounding up sparks. Oh boy. Now the whole idea here is to try and brown up the beef a little bit before you go any further. Well, there we go, we've got the meat sizzling away quite nicely. The onions are all happening. Time to add some mushrooms. These are already diced up and they're already in a packet. I mean, how convenient for camping is that? We've got the mushrooms going, that's all good. I said it was called Nutty Cow, didn't I? Well, that's because it's got nuts in it. Not peanuts this time. I've decided to go all Aussie here and use a mix of macadamias and cashews, which I reckon is really going to taste good. There we go. What we need to do is get a bit of a sauce happening here. So there's a few things we can do to do that, and gravy's about the easiest. Gravy is all about mixing it cold, okay? Don't try and mix it hot. It won't happen. You'll just wind up with lumps all over the place. So in this case, I want a nice thick sauce. I'm going to use 3 teaspoons of Gravox in a fairly big camper's cup of water, and that'll be the start of my stock. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to add a bit of beef stock to it, just to liquefy it up. Now, got to add a bit of flavour. Not that there's not going to be enough flavour in there, but you know me, bung it in. And that means a little bit of oyster sauce. Oh, come on. Yep, that's a little bit. This is horseradish cream. And I'm going to put at least half a jar of it in, because there's 6 of us. Suffer, you guys. All we have to do now is give this a big old stir, time it with about 1 beer, and it should be right to go. Now we're going to put the lid on for a while. Over here I've got some gnocchi and some tin tiny taters. Why have I got both in the same pan? Because I didn't have enough of either. But it doesn't really matter, because it's going to be a perfect accompaniment to this. I'm just going to go and sit by the fire and let it finish itself. Simmer for a while. What are you blokes up to? Oh yes, that looks like it's ready to go. All I need now is a victim. Hey Dennis.
Yes, John.
I've noticed how game you are in your Land Rover. I mean,
well,
you know.
We've got to be game in a Land Rover.
There we go. This is a strange mixture of gnocchi and spuds. Trust me, you're allowed to be totally honest, okay? If you say anything bad, that's the last time ever.
But then I don't get to eat.
You don't get to eat again on this trip.
Well, look at that.
Just give it a go, mate. See what you reckon.
Look here, fellas. This is great.
He said that before he tasted it. Oh, you got to love customers like that.
No, this is going to be great. Hot.
Hot.
And tasty.
Tasty? Pretty good?
Very nice.
There you go. Nutty
Really
cow
good.
at its best. Nutty cow at its best. Righto, next
Nutty
victim.
cow.
That was a bloody excellent camp, mate. Enjoyed that. Thank you for the wonderful dinner.
No problems. Thanks for finding a wonderful campsite. I reckon that's one of the nicest I've seen in the High Country, actually, that Morocco flat. That was lovely.
It is pretty special, isn't it? And like, not many people go in there, which is really nice too.
Yeah, it's got that lovely little bit of privacy-inducing mud just before it. Just what you want. From the hut we worked our way along Moroka Road and then up into the Alpine National Park via the Castle Hill track. This steep, low-range run can be a bit tricky in places, but once you get up to Mount Valencia, the views are spectacular.
Whoa! Oh, wow, look at this, Roothy. We're on top of the world.
Oh, good on you, Alan. This is fantastic.
We've done well, Roothy. We've got Milo up here in one piece, no dramas, it's going good.
Yeah, well, I didn't even have to tow the other trucks up. That's
No,
great.
that's even better, eh?
Luckily the Land Rover was there to push you up.
If you keep working your way up the mountain, you eventually reach the Pinnacles Lookout. At 1,500 feet, the view's taking the Gippsland Lakes to the south and Mount Hotham to the north. It's possible to reach the lookout in a two-wheel drive using the Pinnacles Road bypass, but how much fun would that be, eh? Not much at all, really. Come on, guys, I'll show you how we do walking. It's just like using the clutch, only you do both feet, one after the other. Yeah, right. Well, with me giving fitness tips like that, it's no wonder we're all straining a bit to get up the hill here. There you go, you have heard of it.
Yeah, it's true.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest thing on earth, this climb, it really isn't. But we're all trying to make it look good, just so that when you get there, you'll feel totally unfit. I'm on the fire tower up at the Pinnacles Lookout, and from here you can see, I don't know, millions of hectares of forest. As far as you can see, it's fascinating. Wonangatta over there, and the river, and some of the tracks we've been on. It's just incredible, it really is. But the tower itself is incredible too. In there is a wooden box in the middle, and you've got to wonder why. And then you realise that, of course, all this steel, because it's built out of steel, and right on top of the hill, a rocky hill at that, is going to attract lightning. So the guy who does fire duty, he has to sit in there on the wooden box if there's lightning around, so that he's safe. Now, how does he know there's lightning around? Well, that's fascinating too. There's a string hanging down from the roof in the middle. And AJ tells me that what they do is they get a radio, transistor radio on AM, ABC AM of all things, probably because it's more listenable, and they hang it on that string. And if there's any crackling on the reception, they know that somewhere, even if they can't see it, there's lightning, so they can sort of get prepared. And around the rim of the hut are all the points of the compass, so that if they spot a fire in any particular direction, you know, smoke or whatever's kicked off their interest, they can give fairly exact coordinates as to where it is. Some people have some amazing jobs, don't they? Come on, let's go and have a look at the rest of the scenery. If you continue north along the Pinnacles Road, you finally reach the turn-off to Billygoat Bluff Track. For some reason, this track has always been popular amongst four-wheel drivers, and I reckon it's the sheer challenge of it, not to mention the fact that this terrain is just superb. Nothing says Vic High Country quite like Billygoat's Bluff Track. But whatever you do, don't get too close to the sides, because they fall away to such steep drop-offs, and it's no wonder they've claimed their fair share of victims. There's more than one vehicle sitting down the bottom there, and plenty of parts littered all over the place. It's cost a few lives too. But for the sheer grandeur of the Victorian High Country, nothing can beat this 1.2 kilometre descent over a length of just 7 kilometres. It's amazing, it really is. Probably the only trick I've got for Billygoat's Bluff Track is that in Milo, I'm going to be keeping a hand on the gear stick. Now, I've got the new Terrain Tamer gearbox. It is yet to jump out of a gear, but you never know. You know, if a truck is going to jump out of a gear, it'll be on a slope like this. So you make sure you've engaged low range properly, you've got low range, you've got first gear in there, and then keep a hand free, just in case you have to grab the gear stick. Do not rely on anything, and don't ride your brakes. If you ride your brakes on a track like this, you'll heat them up to the point where it'll just cook and it won't stop at all. By the time we hit the bottom of Billygoat, we're out of the Alpine National Park and into the East Gippsland area of the High Country. What a change in scenery as we track north through the historic grazing district of Crooked River. Pretty soon we reach the Eagle Vale campsite on the bank of the Wonangatta River. I'll tell you what, camping spots, Victorian High Country, wow, the two just go together like you wouldn't believe. You get some of the most magnificent camps up in the High Country, you really do. No, I'm not trying to fix Milo with these. Probably could if I had to. I want to illustrate a point here about old trucks, about the high country, about four-wheel driving, really. And I guess the easiest way to describe it is mechanical sympathy. Some people have got it, and some people haven't. It's one of the reasons I don't let a lot of people drive Milo. In fact, it's very rare. Basically, what it amounts to is this. You're changing gears, switching hubs, whatever you're doing, you could do it like that, nice and gently, or you could smash it together. Now you'll notice I'm not looking at it when I'm smashing it together, and that's because if I keep smashing it together, I'm going to change the tension of the metal, and I'm going to have little bits of metal flying off. Now that's exactly what happens to your gears when you engage them in the gearbox, to your diffs when they're suddenly changed from going forwards to backwards, even to things like your hubs, okay? Everything in a truck is subject to mechanical sympathy. Every time you force something in your truck, doesn't matter what it is, you're doing a little bit of damage. Things shouldn't need to be forced. It's easy, isn't it? When you go into first gear, if you're rolling a little bit forward or not rolling at all, the gear stick will go straight in. When I'm driving Milo and I have to do a three-point turn in those situations, I actually run up the banks a little bit, and as soon as the pressure comes off the gearbox, I can pull it back into neutral, and then I'm hovering over reverse, and at just the right moment, it'll flop into reverse dead easy, no force whatsoever. Every time I do that, I'm saving one more gear change for later on. Righto, there you go. And talking about forcing things, you don't have to force us to go and do more tracks around this high country. It's just glorious. You take it easy on your truck, and then when I do see you out there on the tracks, it won't be because you need a hand to fix it, hopefully. Hey, Paul's on the dishes. Dennis is watching. This is all good. I love camping with people who give you a hand, I really do. It's fantastic. It's the only way to go, isn't it? And Jack's getting a free feed on the side. Watch out, Al, he'll take the lot. For us, it was time to head up north to Dargo, our destination for the day. The only thing we didn't count on was the amount of water in the Wonnangatta River. It's usually low at this time of the year. Everything else has been around here. And the bypass road is like, I don't know, a zillion kilometres to the west there. The best thing to do is go straight through, surely. Which stage, you'll probably be the only person dry because you're on the bonnet.
Well, that'll be the plan. I'll try and keep dry.
Excellent. I launched in okay, and it felt very solid, no problems at all. Plenty of big flat gibbers for the tyres to grab a grip on. But then I saw what looked to be a fair bit of growth on the bottom, and sure enough, it started to get soft. It's about then I realised that everything on that side of the bank was going to be silt build-up. And you know how trucks feel about silt? Yep, they hate it. They just sink straight into it. So I didn't even get as far as I figured I would. Not good at all. Okay. Mind you, I'm just high enough to not be sitting in the water here, and I get to watch everyone else work. Ha ha! Drop that right in the mud for him. Hang on, I'll get it. Here you go. Yeah. You reckon we got enough length? If we haven't, we might even try just pulling it just to undo a bit more rope, because we've probably got another bloody 20 metres of rope there. Oh, watch the mud! You would not believe how soft that is.
I need an out, please, Roothy. Just try it, please.
That is out.
Operate it.
Yeah, I am. Swing the gear around the other way, Dennis. Oh, you got it. Beautiful. Coming in. My old winch has been getting a little bit tricky. I mean, it's done 10 years of hard work this morning. It's been belted up that many times, but I reckon it's still got a few more pulls in it. Clear odds. We've got a Dynamica strap linking both sides of the chassis together. We're running up through the pulley and it's still not moving, not even budging. I'm just wondering whether I should try it on the winch, if it'll pull over this. And the more berries I give it, the more it sinks. Milo's just digging herself a crater here. worst I've been in, to be honest. Can I go off locker? The winch is doing it. The winch is actually pulling it up, which is amazing, you know? Incredible. I mean, there must be tons and tons of weight here by the time you add in the suction of the mud. You want mud? We get you mud. What up? I'll tell you what, everything we're doing here is just making Milo sink deeper and deeper and deeper. And the deeper it goes, the more effort's required by the winch. It's just not going to happen.
Back the winch up a bit.
It's not backing off.
Just try it again.
I think I might. It's not happening. I heard a couple of clacks then.
Yeah, I hit at the last minute, I did too.
Al's got a bit of a surprise up his sleeve here. He's been busting all trip to dig out this huge length of Dynamica winch rope. The whole idea is that we're going to put the 60, which is still on the other side of the creek, we're going to run the rope up through a pulley and then right across the creek to the 60. So it's a bit like giving a long distance snatch, you know, a bit of a tug up the bank.
Alan's been busting to use this Dynamica rope, so let's give it a go.
I think the problem's going to be traction for the 60, but we'll give it a go anyway. With Al, you never know. He comes up with some cracker ideas.
Is he still in
Come on! He was held in by the window. Is there a snatch in there? I'm glad Paul's on the job here. He's done heaps of winch challenges, both as a jockey and a runner. And by crikey, he knows his stuff. He's a good bloke to have along on a trip like this. Milo is that stuck. If we're not pulling 8, 9, 10 tonnes here, something's wrong. It really is.
So you can start taking the crank up whenever you like, mate. Possibly now, and we'll give it a go.
Take it away, Al. You got the ideas. Your plan. Go for it.
Okay, I'm pulling now. Is everything happening? A lot of flying, mate, a lot of flying.
I don't know, Al. It's your plan, man, but I've got a bit of a feeling about this one. We're not moving a fraction here. No, mate, there's no way in the world it's going to budge it. We need to bring the winch over here and to do 2 pulleys. That's our only chance. Well, the master plan didn't work, did it? I mean, this truck is really stuck. So instead of that, Dennis and Al had to travel right the long way around to get across to the other side of the river. I guess I should have done that in the first place, to be honest. Stop! Righto, well, what we've planned now is fairly simple. We've got the Land Rover backed up, shackled to a tree, and we're trying to use its winch doubled up to pull Milo out. This is so embarrassing. Beautiful, it's happening. Milo being pulled out by a Land Rover. In my defence, we could have replaced the Land Rover with a lump of railway iron as long as it had a winch on the front. Oops, sorry Dennis, I didn't say that, okay mate?
I just hope we got this footage of
The Land Rover pulling Milo out.
Don't worry, in voiceover I'm going to say it was a Nissan Patrol.
Don't worry, I want plenty of coverage and plenty of pictures of this Land Rover.
I don't know why we need pictures of your Land Rover, they all look the same. Eventually, thanks to Dennis's winch and a couple of double backs, good old Milo comes loose. Yes!
Job done.
You know what? That is possibly the second most stuck this truck's ever been. In you go. And a Land Rover pulled Milo out.
How's it good? Land Rovers and Premier winches. How good is that?
While Milo's getting a wash on the outside, I'm getting one on the inside. It's all good over here. Nothing quite like the feeling of accomplishment, eh, when you've done something like that. But after a bit of a drive around and knocking the big hunks of mud off, we hit the Wonnangatta Road and head north to Dargo. I tell you what a trip this has been, and what a great bunch of guys to travel with. There's nothing like the sheer adventure that brings out the mateship in blokes when you're on a trip like this. I love it. And these guys, being experienced, being into what they're into, For being just good blokes, it just made it too easy. But I'm cracking the rules now, and we're not going through Dargo without going to the pub. What a great place to finish this adventure. Come on in, fellas. Awesome. G'day, Dave.
How you going?
All right, mate. How you doing? Now, regular readers would know for a long time the Dargo Hotel has been one of my favourite stops in the High Country, and it looks like it's a lot of other people's favourite stops too.
No, Paul doesn't like
If you're looking for a refreshing drink and a good meal, you can't beat what they offer here. What a great place. Cheers. Excellent. On you, Paul. Cheers. Well, I sure hope you've enjoyed this trip through the Gippsland end of the High Country. I know I have, with fantastic scenery and such awesome driving. It just had to be good. And I think we've shown too that you don't need the latest and greatest truck to do it. You just need something reliable, reasonably well equipped, and a whole lot of good fun. Okay, well, I'm off to have a couple more beers. I hope I see you out on the track sometime. See ya. To experience the High Country without the crowds, it's best to plan your visit outside of the peak periods. Try early to mid-December or February and March in the weeks following Easter. For track conditions in the Gippsland area of the High Country, contact Parks Victoria on 03 5140 1243. If you run into trouble on the trip and need assistance, call the RACV on 03 5148 2505. And if you're planning on visiting the High Country in the summer, keep an eye out for fire danger information for days of total fire ban. See you out there on the track, eh? Australia really is the greatest place on earth. And I reckon the Outback is the heart and soul of our country. There's nothing I love better than getting in Milo and driving off into the vast peace and quiet that you only get when you're right out in the bush. And the best thing is, it's just down the end of your street too. So come on, this is where you'll feel the true heartbeat of Australia. Come out here and have a look.